Hey everybody, it's Mr. Corfage. Just giving you a little recap of what we did in class today. It is something that you are going to need. We are going to be spending the next several class periods working on this. So this is kind of the introduction to what we're doing. I'm going to need you in class in order for you to really be able to do this, though. This is going to be something I think that's going to be very difficult for you to try to catch up on if you weren't in class while we did it. And the idea of what we're doing in class is that we're going to work through this together, and it's going to be so much easier on you if you just come to class 30 to 40 minutes, and you'll actually get this done in class with us, with my guidance, and I think it's just going to be a lot easier for you. So I'm really highly encouraging you to come to class live with us over the next several class periods. Frankly, you should be in there every day, but I know that a lot of you don't necessarily do that, and you just go back in and try to catch up and get done what you can. And I just think this is going to be something that's going to be pretty difficult for you to do outside of class. And I'm going to be walking you through this entire process over the next 3, 4, or 5 class periods, however long it takes. So watch this video, but come to class, because it's just going to be something that I think you're going to struggle with if you're not in class. But if you're in class, it's actually pretty simple. All right, so our learning target today was I can describe the struggles and difficulties that soldiers had at Valley Forge. You might be asking yourself, what is Valley Forge? Well, that's what we're actually covering over the course of this unit. We're going to be talking about the Revolutionary War, but we're really going to be focused on what happened at this camp that Washington and his soldiers built in an area outside of Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia, called Valley Forge, in the winter that they experienced there, and how difficult and struggling it was. We're going to be doing something called the DBQ Online project. It's this website that I'm asking you guys to do. And what this basically does is it gives you a bunch of sources and allows you to analyze these sources and really kind of highlight the major pieces of information that you need in order to really fundamentally build a solid argument. And I'll kind of walk through what the argument that you're going to be asked to build is. But I really, again, I'm just really focused on you need to be there in class so that we can effectively do this. All right, so in order to get started, what you're going to have to do is log into the DBQ Online project. To do that, you're going to have to log in through Clever. Now, I will put a copy of this slide on your classroom page for you with your class code and everything on it so that you can just immediately do this. So you just click this link to get to Clever. That'll take you to your Clever page. And my Clever page probably looks a lot different than yours, but all of you should have on your Clever page this little icon down here called the DBQ Online project. When you click that, it's going to take you to your DBQ page. So this is my DBQ page. This is my dashboard. Yours is going to look a little different than this. What yours is going to look like is something like this. And you're going to have this box down here at the bottom that says ready to join my class. And it's going to ask you to enter your 5-digit code. You're going to have to enter one letter into each one of these different boxes. And that's going to depend on what class you are. Again, you will have this slide, and I will put your class code in this slide. So you should just be able to enter it that way. So again, log into Clever, find this little red box. This is DBQ Online. Click it, and then it's going to have this box down here at the bottom. It's going to say ready to join my class. You're going to enter your 5-digit code, and then you'll just click join a class. Now, once you've joined the class, you should see an assignment. So this is my test class, but yours will say 805, 806, 807, 808, whatever. That'll be your class, and you'll have an assignment name, and it should say Valley Forge, would you have quit? So you're going to, once you get logged in, you're going to click that. You're going to click view, and it's going to bring up this project. And this is what we're going to be working on. Okay. So I'm going to say pause your video right here. Make sure you get logged in effectively, and then unpause your video once you're ready. So once you have gotten logged in, I just want to kind of show you how to do this. And I'm asking that you get the first 2 pages done. And I don't want you going any further than that, just the first 2 pages. And I'm going to walk you through exactly what I want you to do on these first 2 pages. So you'll notice when you come in here, I've pointed an arrow directly at this. It's the Valley Forge. Would you have quit? That is our unit, our little mini unit. We'll call it a mini question, whatever it is. That's the question that at the end of this, you're going to have to answer with a full-fledged essay that is arguing whether if you were there, if you were a soldier that was stationed here at Valley Forge, would you have quit? and why or why not. And that's what we're going to be doing over the course of these next several class periods, is gathering the evidence that we need so that you can construct your argument. And again, that's why you really need to be in class. Every page or every class session is going to be a grade. So for today, the people who've done it, they got their 100%, they got their 2 points for today. So you need to be in class to really kind of move forward. Anyway, so we're focusing on this question. Would you have quit? So I'll put an arrow here so that you are very focused on everything kind of leads back to that question. The other things you see are some sticky notes over here that I've placed on here that are guiding you through what I want you to do. So this first one says, I see. So that means we are going to look at this picture. It says, use the circle tool to identify and circle 3 things in this image that stand out to you. Up here is your toolbar. These are all the things that you can do to add things to your image. So it says use the circle tool. This is the circle tool. When I click that, it brings up this oval that I can kind of drag around anywhere on the page that I want to put it. I can use this square at the bottom to kind of reshape my image in any way that I want to. So it said use the circle tool to identify 3 things that stand out to you. So let's say I circled this dude, and then I created another circle tool. And let's say I circled this thing back here, and then one more circle to highlight something else. Let's say I focus on that. I want you to find 3 things that actually stand out to you in this image, but I'm just showing you how to do this. Okay, so I've done this. I've done what this is asking. So now I'm going to go down to the next box. This is I think. Okay, using the 3 items you circled, what do you think is happening in this image? Write a sticky note and place it to the left of the image. Okay, so the sticky note is this one. And so if you hover over any of these, it'll tell you what it's called. So this is the sticky note. This is the plain text. So sticky note, click that, and it adds a little colored post-it note to it. So what does it say to do? Tell me what's happening. Use the things that you've highlighted, but don't necessarily say, in this, I think this is this, I think this is that. No, just overall, what is going on in this image? I think what's happening is blank. And then you tell me what you think is going on in this image. Tell the story that you're pulling out of this image. Okay. So then once I've done that, I've hit this. Now the last thing it says is I wonder. What questions does this image leave you wondering? Use the text box to write at least one question. Okay, this is the text box or plain text. So I click that and it adds a plain text box with no background. I wonder. So your job is to tell me something that after you've looked at this image and analyzed it and said what you think it is showing you, tell me what questions you still have. What are you curious about? Okay. So that's basically what you need to do on this first page. It's not a ton. I'm just going to kind of read this overview with you. In the winter of 1777 and 1778, George Washington commanded several thousand Patriot soldiers who spent the winter at Valley Forge, 18 miles outside of Philadelphia. It was not an easy time. This mini question asks the question: if you had been a soldier in Washington's army, would you have quit? And that's what I want you to constantly be thinking about as you are doing this. Would you have quit? We're going to analyze 4 different documents over the course of the next several class periods to help you with your argument. Document A is it's a chart that shows you how many people got ill and died. B is an engraving of George Washington. Document C is a diary of a doctor who was there. Document D is a writing piece by Thomas Paine, who is making an argument as to whether or not people should stay there. Okay, so we've done everything that this has asked us to do on this first page. We've done everything. We've done our circles. We've done our sticky note. We've done our text box. Again, you have to do all of these things separately on your own. But so we finished this page, so we want to move on to the next page. So we can click next page, or we can click up here, and we can go to the hook exercise, which is the next page. I would suggest just using that one. That way you can make sure that you get on the page that you have. So on every one of these pages that we're going to do, there's going to be a little green box up top that tells you all the steps that you need to do in order to fulfill the obligations for this page. So here it says prep the document, 3 steps. and answer the questions. So these are the things that I need to accomplish before I can move on to this page. Well, what does prep the document 3 steps mean? Well, that's number 1. So 1A, prep the document. Highlight the location and date. Okay, so I've already got that highlighted here. Somehow I managed to do it. It shouldn't be that way. I'll fix that. So highlight, you click the freehand button, and you want to pick this one right here. This is the better version of a highlighter, this guy right here. And you can highlight it in whatever color you want. Okay, so I want to highlight the date and location. So it's Pennsylvania, Montgomery County, mid-January 1778. If I wanted to erase anything I did, then I can just click this eraser. And I can just click on it and it'll erase everything that I did. So I've highlighted the date and location. 2, it says use the circle tool to circle the location of the British Army in red and the Continental Army in blue. So let me read over this. Your name is Levi Zent. Most folks call you Uncle Levi. You are a prosperous, meaning kind of wealthy, third-generation Pennsylvania farmer with foodstuffs to sell. In September, the British Army under William Howe occupied nearby Philadelphia and set up comfortable quarters for the winter. So the British soldiers had set up themselves in a nice, comfortable location out in Philadelphia. Last month, the American Continental Army under George Washington made its rough winter camp at Valley Forge, just a few miles west from your farm. So the Americans are just west of my farm in Valley Forge. You have recently become a Quaker, and you hate war, but business is business. Last week, you sent your nephews to both camps to get prices offered by the two armies. Your nephews returned with this price list. Okay. So back to this. I want to use my circle tool to circle the location of the British Army in red. So I'm going to go to the circle tool. I'm going to make it red. And it noted that the British were in Philadelphia. And we're going to use red for the British every time that we do anything. We're going to use blue for the Americans because those were the colors of their uniform. So the British are in Philadelphia. I'm going to make another one that said, and highlight, or I'm sorry, it circled the British or the Continental American Army in blue. So I'm going to make a blue one, make it a little tinier. I'm going to make that right here to tell me that. So I know that now I can see the British are in Philadelphia, the Americans are in Valley Forge. Okay, so I've done this. So now I've done step 1, step 2. Now I need to do step 3, prep the document. Use the square tool, which is this guy, to create a red box around the prices the British are willing to pay and a blue box around the prices the Americans are willing to pay. Again, so I sent my nephews to the British and to the Americans to find out how much they'd be willing to pay for this stuff. And right here it says that the Army of Valley Forge, this is the Americans, they're willing to pay. So I'm going to make a blue box around this. It says the Americans are willing to pay me 3 shillings for a pound of butter. They're willing to pay me 10 shillings for a bushel of potatoes. They're willing to pay me 1 shilling for a pound of veal. So this is what the Americans are willing to do. Now the British, I'm going to make a red box around the British. Red box around the price of the British. The British are willing to pay me 7 shillings for a pound of butter. They're willing to pay me 16 shillings for a bushel of potatoes. They're willing to pay me 4 shillings for a pound of veal. Okay, so now I have fulfilled my prep of the document. I've done all 3 steps. I highlighted the date and location. I circled the location of the two armies, and I have now highlighted or put a square around how much each of these groups are willing to pay. So I've done prep the document. Now I just need to answer the questions. So down here it says answer the questions. Create text boxes to answer these questions because you can't type on here directly. For whatever reason, you can't. But you can just create a text box, which is the second T here. If I do that, and I drag my text box down to here, I can change whatever color text I want. And I just do the same thing. I make another text box. And I drag this one down here. Make that whatever color I want. And now I can answer these 2 questions. And I'm not going to tell so basically it's asking you, okay, of these 2, where are you going to sell your goods and why? You're an American farmer. The Americans are willing to pay you this much. The British seem to be willing to pay you more. Who are you going to sell to and why? And then Just the second question. If everyone else does the same thing that you do, how is that going to impact the American Army? How is that going to affect the American armies? That's all that I'm asking you to do on this page, and that's where I want you to stop. I don't want you to go any further than this hook exercise, these 2 pages. So before Wednesday, please have these 2 pages completed. And then on Wednesday, we will move forward. Again, please don't go any more forward than this. This is all I want you to have done before Wednesday. Any questions, please let me know, and I will talk to you guys soon.